Hey Gemini, I'm Eleanor and welcome to Peaches by Starlight Tarot. This is your weekly pick a card reading. We are talking about your monthly and weekly energies. So the Empress is representing your whole month of April and being very abundant, very creative, queen of all of the elements, all of the queens combined into one. And the weekly energy is Gildeptis, and this is a goddess talking about, the priestess is manifesting as this goddess who is about synthesis, and so that's getting all of your disparate parts into alignment and working together. It's a little bit like the Chariot card, where you don't have your horses pulling this way and that way, but they are united towards a common goal. And when they do that, now you can move forward more efficiently and with a more clear and triumphant destination. Okay, so I'm using the Wolf Pack and White Sage Tarot. I have stack 1, 2, and 3. They're timestamped below, so you can skip right to the one or more than one that you feel is calling to you and has a message for you. These are general, so if you would like a private reading, those are through email, and my Etsy page where you can find those is linked below. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I am so close to 50. I am grateful to all of you. And when I hit 50, I'm going to do a huge reading for everybody with lots of pick-a cards and lots of different themes like love and money and stuff. Anyway, stack 1, you have the 8 of Cups, the 8 of Wands, 2 8s, obstacles. You will encounter obstacles at this time. The solution is not to expect defeat, but to find answers. Rely on your inner strength to overcome the situation. You will become wiser from this experience. Now, what I'm finding interesting right off the bat is the way, see that wolf is kind of behind a cage. That's the obstacle right there. And you have this 8 of Wands. Look at that really interesting visual synchronicity of that cage and how those wands come together as though they're blocking you. But interestingly, the 8 of Wands is about a quickening and a speeding up, exactly what would happen when you do get this synthesis. So let me think a second here. This fence does validate you having been held back up until this point and being fenced in and not able to take action and not able to move forward. But things are about to start speeding up and start changing if you can learn to travel light. So it's like deciding that what you want is worth cracking a few eggs for. And what you want to, it's like you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. I can't think of the phrase right now. But that if this holding yourself back, this hemmed in and fenced in thing has to do with fear of making mistakes, fear of making the wrong choice, fear of what going for more might cost you and what you might be walking away from or what you might drop in the process. Am I taking on too much and am I going to mess something else up that's already kind of good? And is it worth reaching for more? Is it worth trying to move on to the next step? Is it worth moving forward if I'm going to upset the balance of what already is? Is it going to be a mistake? And so when you can decide that what you want is more than that, what you want is worth more than that, it's worth making mistakes that probably, it's the fear that they're going to not be worth it. But when you can drop that fear is like baggage, that fear is like an anchor. So when you let go of that fear and become more excited and start salivating for what that thing is that you want, that fear will fall away. And you'll realize that what is yours and what's meant for you can't fall away. That anything that falls away in the process was something that just along with that fear was holding you back anyways. And so that is like, it's like pulling up this anchor, or I almost feel like these fences are kind of like not a drawbridge. What's the portcullis, the big door to the castle? It's like raising it up, lifting up the anchor, and then you can speed through on triumphantly towards what it is that you want. Stack 2, the Moon, 3 of Swords, persistence. Even though there have been many changes in your life recently, you may have to become more persistent to get what you want. With persistence and good advice, you will achieve. Do not give up. All right. The Moon does indicate a good time to do shadow work. There may be parts of you, like this is talking about, some of your parts are going to be on board and some of your parts aren't. So there's going to be parts that aren't on deck that are going to want to stay in harbor because of trigger ability, fears of past pains repeating themselves. It's like this Three of Swords is just unresolved things, heartbreaks that seem to, because they happened, they have a way of self-replicating because of behaviors that out of fear of them happening, that you repeat the pattern and the behavior, and so the pattern repeats itself. And so until you can heal that thing, it is likely to repeat. In that, so you have this story, this narrative of what happened in your experience. And so when you start to have a new experience come in, and if certain aspects of it match up with that previous experience, you can, the brain has this sometimes useful and sometimes not way of projecting the rest of that story onto it and making it look like, oh, this is it again, this is happening again. And so you respond the same way. And unfortunately, that can sometimes make that actually be true and make it happen. So if you can recognize that when those pieces match, but the rest of it hasn't come to fruition yet, the rest of it hasn't happened yet. So maybe I make a different choice and maybe I can rewrite that and keep that from happening again. So it's time to sit with those parts and give those parts your time, give those parts your affection and attention, and don't give up on yourself, because up until this point, I feel like you know what these are. I feel like when the shadow work comes up, if you're listening to tarot, you know probably what that is. You know what these issues are that have seemed intractable up until now. And it's saying, keep paying attention to your dreams. Keep asking yourself about your core content, what your triggers are wired to. Don't just get hung up on the trigger. It's like, okay, so this triggers me, and then follow the trail of breadcrumbs. Pick up the wire and trace that wire back to the core content, that belief, that Three of Swords. That's the original incident, the original trauma that created that trigger. And so if you can go back to that and find out what it's wired to and recognize that what just tripped it isn't, that they aren't the same thing, that they aren't connected, or can you find a way to either decouple it or at least recognize what happened and not react in the same way. But anyway, it does talk with this persistence that's a tall order. I don't mean to say all these things like it's no big deal. And so don't back down and push through, because I feel like this may have been something you had to confront before and this isn't news to you. And so keep on it, keep working on it, because you're almost there. Okay? Stack 3. You have the Three of Pentacles, the Magician, excessive pressure. You seem to be under excessive pressure at this time. Try not to take on any more responsibility. Look for solutions. Change may be difficult, but will be worth the results. Okay. With Three of Pentacles here, this is talking about some kind of group effort. It feels as though you have been taking responsibility for the whole thing, like in school where you're given a group project and you're with a bunch of people that don't give a crap, and you know that if you want to get the grade you want, you're going to have to do it, and because these adults don't give a shit. Sorry. Or like with social distancing, everyone says stay 6 feet apart, and you try to go to the store just to get eggs and flour, and it's like people are coming up on you. They don't seem to have any idea that there's a bubble that we're supposed to be maintaining. And so you are just, you'll play, everyone else, they can kind of get close to each other if they want, but you're going to play Pac-Man, you're going to play with the perimeter. You'll go ahead and take an extra hour doing your shopping so you don't have to go down the aisle where there's somebody, and you'll maintain that bubble for yourself. I guess you can tell what's on my mind lately. Anyways, but it can also, like with a group project where you have people that don't care about their grade, and you know that you do, and so you will take up the slack so you can get a passing grade. And so, but however, it does say here that it is time to find a resolution and time to redistribute that workload. So this probably isn't about the social distancing, but it's just what it felt like in the moment, because this is going to be having the power to make positive changes at this time. And so with synthesis, it looks like it's more about aligning people rather than just like an inner alignment. And so it's going to be working your magic to get everyone on board, to create a team vibe, to create incentive, create camaraderie, create common ground, find a way to create this synthesis of people that everyone's doing their part, that everyone has the same vision that you do, that everyone wants the same thing. And so everyone will take their own piece of responsibility and you all come together and you can all become successful without it draining you and taking you down. So create all those things, but whatever you do, don't create more work for yourself. Okay? I'll talk to you in a week, Gemini. Thank you.